a good morning, time to go. Got that smile upon my face, 'cause there's excitement in the chase, this I know.
My name is Jennifer Griffiths. I've worked for Circle IT for 15 years. I haven't worked in HR the whole time I've been here. Basically, I started off in operations and fell into HR is probably the best way to put that. The reason that I fell into HR was because we realised that there was actually a problem within the business with our employee turnover, and we didn't know why. I actually just did some research. I did a bit of, employee turnover, worked out how you actually measure that and why, and went about looking at how many people we'd lost, which was actually 54% of our staff in the year 2013 to 14, and what the cost was. So I knew that I was never going to get any buy-in from the board or from any senior management unless I had some costs associated with this, because it's all very well saying, you're losing people, but why is that important? We use People HR to monitor the turnover within the business. We worked out that it cost us £250,000 just in re-employing people. A massive, massive issue for us as a business, and at that point people sat up and took notice. Once we'd identified the problem, the next step was, what do we do about this? Through my research, I had realised that probably what we were lacking was a real picture of how people were feeling in the business, why they were leaving. It was fairly straightforward then from the point of view of, let's do an employee survey. Let's actually find out what people are really feeling and thinking, and let's do something about it. The way we went about it is we did a company survey based on the Gallup questions. The results were then collated and we identified the top 3 areas that we needed to work on and actually put action plans into place. The response from that was almost immediate. Some of the easier things to solve, people didn't feel like they were being listened to or had any outlet. But then obviously there was some underlying themes there as well, which were a bit more hard to tackle. So we didn't score very well actually in our training development areas. Potentially people thought that, that there was more we could do with their development.
My name's Laura. I've worked for Circle IT for the past year and a bit. I basically do a little bit of everything that's not technical. With regard to personal development, I said in my interview that I wanted a career and not a job.
How we tackled that was looked at a skills inventory within the business. So everybody's skills were assessed and we looked at what gaps we needed to cover from a business perspective, not just from a personal perspective. So it was a win-win in that respect. And they could see that we were actually doing something about it, which was probably the most important thing. I think that's something that people forget when they run employee surveys, is communicate the results and make sure that you are actually acting on it.
So started as a resource coordinator, and then one of the guys handed his notice in, who was a service delivery manager. So I thought, well, if there's anything I am good at, it's building relationships. So I applied for that role with absolutely no experience of the job, and they said, you've got absolutely no experience, but we are really pleased with what you've put together. So we basically put a plan in place. So within 6 months I will integrate out of my current role and transition into a service delivery manager role.
From a business point of view and business impact point of view, we reduced the turnover within our business from 54% to 15% within 2 years. We basically saved, in doing that, at least £100,000. We also then went and submitted an application to the Employee Engagement Awards in London, and we actually won. There was quite a few big companies we were up against. All the hard work that we'd done paid off in more ways than one.
My name's Katie. My job title is Services Manager. HR decided to hold a meeting with all the service desks analysts. So we had a lot of things off the back of that, which included having monthly team meetings, having one-to-ones every month with team members. They felt as though they didn't have a voice, so they wanted to have some sort of say in how they could improve the desk.
My name is Rhys Davis and I'm a service desk analyst first line. Well, we have a morning meeting every day with our team, and in that meeting, Katie, our manager, will basically say to us, guys, what's going on? How's everyone doing? Is there any concerns, anything like that?
Owen, should we start with you?
Rachel James call actually.
All the feedback we provide to basically anybody really is taken on board, compared to other companies where most feedback is taken in and just completely ignored. mainly because of your position within the company. But yeah, always feel listened to and understood, always.
We introduced a suggestions and feedback area, and people were able to go on there and actually say, look, we think you should do this. Some were really quick wins for us. For example, we used to charge our staff for parking. And one of the things that kept coming up was, we want free parking. And it sounds kind of funny now to me because it's obvious, but actually it was a really quick thing to fix. We just had to go, right, okay, let's do it. Yes, so we use People HR to monitor several areas of the business, of course. The best use of it that we've found for engagement is we use the logbooks to basically record all of our one-to-ones. And what that means is that we can record every month how engaged people are in the business. So it's not just about an annual survey, it's an ongoing piece of work. If I had to give advice to aspiring HR professionals, it would be to make sure your business is ready. There's probably no point in pushing things within the HR function where the business isn't ready to hear it. It very often will fail, and that will mean that the business is never ready to hear it because they've seen it as a failure. And so you've really got to make sure you've got that buy-in at the board level. The best way to do that is to think about the impact anything is having on the business. If you can put numbers to that, absolutely brilliant. That is going to be the thing that makes people sit up and take notice. And beyond that, it would probably be make sure that you don't get too into the detail. Try and kind of draw out really the key themes. HR people are very passionate usually about making a difference. And I think it's really easy to get carried away and think I can change the world in a year. You can't. And I've made that mistake myself, which is why I'm able to kind of say it. I think you've got to kind of go, right, these are the top 3 things. I'm going to tackle them, have your action plan, stick to it, and just make sure you've got that buy-in.